Hello, hello, hello. I am the Linux Mensch. Today, I'm going to take a look at DWM, Dynamic Window Manager. So, let's get to it. This is a virtual machine of Arch Linux with the awesome window manager. And it's a brand new virtual machine. I just made it a few minutes ago. So, DWM, it's not available in the official Arch Linux repository. It is in the AUR, but I'm not going to download it and install it from the AUR. I'm going to download it and install it from source. And that way, you can also install it from Debian or Void Linux or any other Linux you happen to be using. So what I'm going to do is open up a terminal. And I'm going to make that a little larger. Now this part is optional, but I'm going to make a directory called builds. Make dir builds. Okay, now usually when I'm installing stuff from the AUR, I always make a directory called AUR just to keep all those AUR packages in there. And this time, because I'm building from source, I'm going to make a directory called builds. And of course, that's optional. You don't have to do that. So I'm going to cd into builds. And I'm going to clear the screen. And I'm going to type in git clone https:// git.suckless.org/dwm, and it's going to download it from source. And we're cloning it right now. And it's just going to take a moment and it's done. So now I'm going to clear the screen. And this command, you know what? I'm going to put this command in the show notes of my video. Okay? So now I'm going to ls, and we can see there's a DWM folder inside my builds folder. So I'm going to cd into DWM. And I'm going to clear the screen and I'm going to ls it. So now you can see we have all these files here. So what I'm going to do is type in sudo make clean install. And I'm going to hit enter. Well, it's asking for my password. So I'm going to put my password in. And we are installing DWM, Dynamic Window Manager. So the first thing I'm going to do is a DWM doesn't come with a terminal emulator. Now there is a terminal emulator that works with DWM. It was made for DWM. It's called ST. But I don't have ST installed. So DWM doesn't come with ST installed. You have to install it yourself. And ST stands for Simple Terminal. And it's a terminal emulator that the Suckless people made to work with DWM. But it doesn't come with DWM. You have to install it yourself. And the reason why I'm telling you that is that if you don't have Simple Terminal installed, when you log on to DWM, you won't be able to do anything. You won't be able to open your terminal. You won't be able to do anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to install ST. Let's cd back into builds. And let's type in this command. Git clone https://git.org/st. May as well install it. Okay, so now we're going to ls it. So now we have two folders in my builds. We have DWM and ST. And remember, ST stands for Simple Terminal. And I'm going to cd into ST. I'm going to ls it. And I'm going to type in sudo make clean install. So now we're building ST. Okay, so now I'm going to log out of here. Oh, before I do that, and now I'm going to vim into my xnrc file. And I'm gonna hashtag out the awesome. And I'm gonna make a line here. I'm gonna type in EXEC DWM. And I'm gonna save the file. Now I'm gonna log out of awesome. I'm gonna quit. And you know what? I'm gonna do set font tier dash 132B. So now we're in the TTY. And I'm going to type in startx because I already changed my XNRC file to log into DWM. And there we are. We are in DWM without any changes to it. So I didn't make any changes to it. This is the default DWM. And because I installed Simple Terminal or ST Terminal, I can get into the terminal. Now you can see there's no wallpaper. And you can move your mouse, but it doesn't do anything, right? And you can see up here, and it's really small. Up here in the top right corner, it just says the version of DWM I'm in. So I'm in the latest version of DWM because I installed it from source. So it says DWM. I think it says 6.5. It's so small I can barely read it. And up here, there's 9 workspaces. So DWM is, well, I should say Awesome is a lot like DWM because Awesome forked DWM and they made it more user-friendly. But of course, Awesome is written in Lua and DWM is written in C. But like I said, so up here at the top bar, there's 9 workspaces. And I don't know if you can see them. I can barely see them. We're going to fix that. And the mouse doesn't work in DWM except for the mouse. You can change workspaces with the mouse, but there's no mouse menu. Now, of course, the mouse works when you open Firefox, or if you're opening any application that uses the mouse will work. So in the default DWM, the mod key is not the super key, it's the alt key. And I think it's Shift Alt Enter that opens the terminal. Yes, it is. So Shift Alt, oops, didn't mean to do that. So Shift Alt Enter opens the terminal. And look how small it is. Now Shift Control Page Up is going to make that bigger, okay? Now let's do an HTOP. So we're running at 246 gigabytes of RAM. So like I said, this virtual machine of Arch Linux I just made a few minutes ago before I started the video. And I gave it 4 processors, 4 gigs of RAM, and no swap because I never use swap. That's besides the point. So we're running at 247 megabytes of RAM. It's not bad. I think it uses the same amount of RAM as Awesome or Qtile. Anyways, now to close it, we're going to do, so the mod key is Alt. So we're going to do Shift, Alt, and I believe it's C. Yes. Now to open the terminal again, we're going to go Shift, Alt, Enter. And this is Simple Terminal or ST Terminal, and it was made to work with DWM, but it doesn't get installed with DWM. You have to install it separately, okay? And Shift Control Page Up is going to make the font bigger, okay? But we're going to fix this. Whoa, that's big. Ooh, 252. Okay. So, like I said, I've been playing. I never used DWM before. And a long time ago, I installed DWM, but I didn't install Simple Terminal because ST Terminal doesn't come with it. Even though it was made to work with it, you have to install it separately. So I installed DWM maybe a couple years ago after I was using Awesome and Qtile. And I had a black screen and I couldn't do anything. I couldn't open the terminal. I couldn't figure out how to close it down. I think I ended up powering down my computer. I had to reboot my computer. I didn't really have to, but I didn't know how to use it. I didn't know how to move around in it or get out of it. So I ended up powering down my computer, rebooting, going into the XNRC and changing it so I could get back into the awesome window manager. But anyways, I've been playing with DWM for the past week and I figured out how to use it and I configured it to the way I like it. And this is what I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay. So instead of showing you how to do it, I'm going to download my script. I made my own configuration file for DWM. And before I do that, I'm going to do a couple of other things. Okay. So I'm going to open Simple Terminal. So it's Shift, Alt, Enter. And let's make that big. Oops. Hit the wrong button. Okay. So let's do X render. You know what? Let's not even do that. Let's just get into Shift Control page down should make the font a bit smaller. Let's do X render S 1360 by 768. That's better. And let's clear the screen and let's CD into my Mensch folder. This is Mensch from my GitLab repository. So in the show notes of every video, I have the command. So you can download my GitLab repository and use my configuration files. So I'm not going to type it in today because I've already downloaded it. So I'm going to CD into Mensch, ls it. I'm going to CD into Arch, ls it. Woo! Look at all this stuff. And see right here, I have a DWM folder. So I'm going to CD into DWM. I'm going to clear the screen. I'm going to ls it. So I'm going to open up the Auto app. Whoops, I don't want to do that. I want to Vim into Auto app just so you can see what's in there. Okay, so this is just a small configuration file. It's going to download from the Arch Linux official repository. It's going to download dmenu, nitrogen, and xorg xset root. Now, if you're doing this in Debian or Debian-based distribution, or Void or some other Void Linux or some other Linux, then you're going to have to install these three things manually. So the D menu, if you don't know, it's going to give us a run menu on the top to open our apps. Nitrogen is an application for Wallpaper, and xorg xset root is something that we need to put a clock in the system, because if you look at on the bar at the top, there's no clock there. And I love to have a clock there. I can't work without a clock. So this xset xorg is going to put a clock there. So like I said, if you're running Debian, Void Linux, or some other distribution, you can install these separately. If you're running Arch, I just made this simple install script to install this. So let's get out of there and let's run it. Run Auto app. And put my password in. And it's installing those three things. Okay, now let's ls it again. Well, let's go to another workspace. Now remember, the Alt key is the mod key right now, but we're going to change that. Alt P, and it opens up D menu. And I know you can hardly see it up here. It's so small, but we're going to fix that too. So if you type in Firefox, it's going to open up Firefox. And there we go. And Shift Alt C is going to close Firefox. So we see D menu is now working. It's Alt P, right? If you type in PCManFM, it's going to open up PCManFM, my file manager. Shift Alt C is going to close it. So let's use the mouse and go back to workspace 1. And what I'm going to do is some more magic. So here I have, let's clear the screen. Here I have my own configuration file that I made. So I'm going to copy it. I'm going to do copy config to tilde home builds DWM. Okay. Oh, and permission denied. I got to do sudo. So I'm going to do sudo, and now it's copied. I'm going to clear the screen. I'm going to go ls it. Now I've created an auto start file. So let's vim into it. Vim auto. So this is an auto start file. Now you don't have to use it. You don't have to use an auto start file. You can put all this stuff in xenit.rc file. So this auto start file, it's going to open up nitrogen, make it work. It's going to start numlock. It's going to start make sure my power manager is always on. It's going to fix my resolution. And if you're doing this in bare metal, you probably don't have to use this. But because this is a virtual machine, I always have to fix the resolution. So it's going to fix the resolution automatically. And it's also going to run the file that helps my Xterm to make my Xterm black in the background with the nice white, large readable font. And this stuff down here, this is for the clock. All this command here is for the clock, okay? So this is going to be in an auto start file, but you don't have to use this. You could put this in your xnrc file. Now, if we use the auto start file, we're going to have to download and install a patch from the DWM website in order for this auto start file to work. If you don't want to download and install the patch, you could just put this in the xnrc file and it will work without doing anything extra. But the reason why I don't like it in the xnrc file is that if you put it in the xnrc file, it's going to start all the stuff no matter what window manager you're using or desktop environment you're using. And I don't like that because in my awesome window manager, I have separately in the awesome window manager my auto start configuration. And in my Qtile window manager, I have a separate file for auto start configuration. And sometimes the certain window managers, you don't want to have all the things starting. You might want to have certain things starting with this window manager, but not all those things starting with the other window manager. Maybe with the other window manager, you only want a few things starting. And then with the desktop environments, like the Cinnamon desktop environment or the GNOME desktop environment, they start their own auto apps by themselves. So if you don't want to install a patch, you can put this in the xenit.rc file and it will work fine with DWM. The disadvantage is that it's going to open all this stuff with your other window managers. And like, for instance, I have a setting here for the clock to put the clock in. Well, with the awesome window manager and the Qtile window manager, there's already a clock installed. You don't have to have a command to install it. Okay? So like I said, I have a separate file to auto start these, but that file won't work unless we have a patch. Okay? So now I'm going to close this and we have to go get the patch. So let's open up a web browser. So it'll be Alt-P. Let's type in Firefox. And now my cat Hope is here to help. So we're going to go to the DWM website. And we're going to go to patches. I'm going to download a patch and install it. And before I do that, let's quit out of there. And I didn't mean to do that. So let's cd into, now we already copied over my configuration file. So let's cd into DWM. So I copied over my configuration file. So whenever you copy over a new configuration file, or you go into your existing configuration file and make changes, you have to rebuild it. So we're going to do sudo make clean install. Put my password in. Okay, now let's cd out of there. Let's log into it. So now we see, look at this. The bar is on the bottom. The print is nice and easier to read, but the clock is still not there. There's no wallpaper, but things have changed. And also my mod key is now changed to the super key. So if and it's also going to open up Xterm instead of ST. So mod key, enter, and it opens up my terminal, and it's opening up Xterm. Now, mod key, so what I did is I put all the key bindings in to DWM that I use in the Awesome Window Manager and Qtile. Okay, so let's do mod key F. Opens up Firefox. Okay, mod key super key closes it. Now mod key P is going to open up my run launcher. Now look at the run launcher. DWM run launcher. Look how big it is and easy it is to read. So you could type in Firefox that way and open it up that way. Okay. But now we're not finished yet. There's still some more to do. And well, let's open up Firefox. Okay, let's go to DWM. Let's go to patches. And I'm going to scan down to auto start. So I'm going to click on auto start. And I'm going to click on the second one. I'm going to download the second one, DWM auto start. I'm going to right click it. I'm going to save link as. And I'm going to hit enter. So I'm going to close my web browser. And I'm going to open up my terminal. And I'm going to CD into builds. I'm going to CD into DWM. And I'm going to make a directory called patches. Then I'm going to CD out of there. I'm going to CD into downloads, ls it, and there's my patch. I'm going to move DWM patch to tilde builds DWM patches. Okay. Then I'm going to clear the screen and I'm going to test the patch. So what I'm going to do is test the patch before I install it. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to CD out of there. I'm going to CD into, and let's just make that a bit bigger. And let's CD into builds, DWM. And now what I'm going to do is open another terminal. CD into builds, DWM, patches. You know, ls it. And I'm going to copy this patch. I'm going to go back to the other workspace. And I'm going to type in this command. Patch dash dash dry dash run arrow space tilde builds DWM patches, and I'm going to insert the name of that patch, and I'm going to hit enter, and it's working. So now that I know that the patch is good, I'm going to do this. I'm going to backspace patch dash PL like that. I'm going to hit enter. And you know what? I think that's a 1. Sorry, it's not supposed to be an L. That's a 1. There we go. Leave a space. And there we go. The patch has succeeded. So the reason why it wasn't working, now I've done this several times already, but the reason why it wasn't working is because I put this as an L, and that's a 1. Okay, so now we can clear the screen. We're going to go back to my mensch directory, CD into mensch, arch, DWM. Oh, before I do that, let's go back home. I'm going to make a directory .dwm. Okay. Now we got to go back to our my GitLab Mensch folder, Arch, DWM, ls it, and we want to copy this auto start file. Copy auto start. Copy auto start. Don't copy the auto app, copy the auto start file to tilde home period DWM. Okay. Now what we're going to do is close this, and I'm going to do Shift Mod key Q to get out of there. And you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to CD into builds DWM. I'm just going to make it again. Sudo make install, sudo make clean install. Okay. Put my password in. And now we're going to start X. And there we are. The resolution is fixed. The clock is in. Look at the clock and the time is in. My workspaces are nice and large. Okay, now let's get some wallpaper. So I'm going to hit Mod key P, type in nitrogen, and we're going to hit Preferences. And make sure you turn off this recruce, because it doesn't work properly. Well, it didn't work properly for me. So I'm going to turn that off. And now I'm going to add. I'm going to go to Mensch Home. I'm going to select it. I'm going to do OK. And I have 3 wallpapers here. So I'm going to install this wallpaper, and I'm going to apply it. And Shift Mod C for close. And there we go. Now let's Shift Mod Q to get out of there. And let's CD out of there. And let's clear the screen, and let's type in start. Now remember, we're in the TTY now, right? Start X. And there we are. Now, I know this looks like my awesome window manager configuration without the mouse because there's no menu, right? So I got my clock down here. I got nice wallpaper. I got my workspaces. And the super key, which is my mod key now, and enter opens Xterm. Okay. And let's do an HTOP. So now, oh, it's a bit big, right? Okay, so now we're running at, like I said, I gave this virtual machine 4 processors, 4 gigs of RAM, and no swap. And we're running at 274 megabytes of RAM. Not bad. Mod key. So right now, the key bindings are the same as they are in my awesome window manager and in my Qtile. So mod key P opens up the run launcher. We can open up PCMan like this way, right? Or we can open up PCMan would be control mod key P opens up PCMan FM. Mod key F opens up Firefox. Okay, now if you want to go into the configuration file, mod key enter, let's CD into builds, let's CD into DWM, ls it, and we want this one here. We're going to vim into config H. Okay, vim config period H. So this is my configuration file. Well, I took the default configuration file and made changes to it. So this font here was very small. I can't remember what it is in the default, but it's very small. I changed it to 12. I changed this font to 16. In line 61, you can see right here, it says Xterm. Okay, so in a default configuration, it says ST for simple terminal. So I changed that to Xterm. Then I added all these key bindings here. I put Firefox, PCMan FM, OBS, GIMP, Kdenlive, and Ramina. Also, up here, this used to say right here, in line 48, it used to say mod 1 mask. So the default configuration, the mod key is the Alt button. So I changed it right here to mod 4 mask. So now my mod key is the super key. Okay. And then down here on line 71, mod key P opens up D menu. Mod key and return on line 72, mod key and return opens up my terminal. Line 73, mod key F opens up Firefox. Line 74, mod key and the control button open up PCman FM. Line 75, mod key and the control button O, mod key control O opens up OBS. Mod key control on line 76, you can see mod key control opens up, on line 76, mod key control K opens up Kdenlive. Line 77, mod key G opens up GIMP, and mod key R opens up Ramina. So these are the changes I made. Now, whenever you make a change to the configuration file, you have to you have to be in the correct folder, your DWM folder, and you have to type in sudo make clean install, put your password in, then you have to log out of DWM and back into it. Okay. Now, if you want, you can do this. See how some of these are owned by root? I'm going to do sudo chown mensch mensch start. Now let's see it. Now we see we changed these files. The ones that were owned by root, they're all owned by mensch now. So you could do that too. And if you want to see what the default configuration file is, you could go into config def .h. So this config .h is my configuration file, and it's the one that you can play around with and change for yourself. But if you want to see the default one, you can go into here. So let's do sudo. But we don't need sudo anymore because mensch is the owner. So let's do vim config.def.h. So this is the default configuration file. So for instance, you can see right here in line 48, mod 1 mask is the default mod key, which is the Alt button. And we don't have all my key bindings in there. And you can see here, the terminal, you can see right here, the terminal is ST and not Xterm. Okay. Now, when you do an update, the newest version will go into here and it won't override your own configuration in config.h. Okay. So mod key C closes. So this looks like my awesome window manager. And as a matter of fact, my Qtile window manager looks pretty much the same as this as well. So I have all the same key bindings in here that I have in my awesome window manager and my Qtile window manager. And if there isn't a key binding, you could just do mod key P, opens up the top run launcher just like it does in my awesome window manager configuration file, right? So we can type in, let's type in GNOME disks. And there you go. And that's it. In this video, I took a first look at DWM Window Manager. I showed you how to install it. I showed you how to configure it. I showed you how to get my configuration file for it and how to use it. And I'm going to leave all these commands in the show notes of this particular video. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like it and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I am the Linux Mensch. DWM is pretty good. I like it.